Hello, Froggy here, and today we'll be going from one mirror dimension to the other. Once again, we'll be doing an IRB using the final mission of the Witch Queen campaign. Thanks to ItAvvy, BergundyPetal, and Cube17 for figuring that one out. You're going to want to have Skyburners on, as well as whatever you want to do for damage. Later on, you're going to need Navigator, unless you are really good at not setting spawn points while doing incredibly precise movement, so I would definitely recommend Navigator. Anyways, once you land, you're going to need to take a few steps forwards to spawn in Savathun. And afterwards, cross the divide back to part 1 of the encounter. You could do this with a fallback if you wanted to. I prefer sword flying over. Anyone who's not making the journey over should die and remain dead, because once this battle begins, it will trigger a joining allies, and if you're caught by that, you'll sit at a black screen until this Savathun dies, which is not what you want. You can see the two ghosts have moved over. You'll want to proceed through this part of the fight as you normally would. You won't have the health bar, but don't worry, you are doing damage. After that, deal with the Hive Knights, and once Savathun comes back, head over to the right or left side. That's just to get cover so you don't have to worry about crossfire. You need to damage the far side Savathun to the point that you get the next phase. You can spot her by the attack she triggers, and it is definitely a lot nicer to do this with allies, although not necessary. You can do all of the pre-setup solo. So if you just want to call someone in to trigger the IRB, that is a possibility. Once you get the dialogue, you'll get a joining allies. This one is safe and will just ferry you across to the other side. Any moment now. There we go. And this is another phase that you'll be completing normally. At least up until you are about to jump the glass breaker buff. You don't have to worry about spawn points or anything, we'll be taking care of those. I like to set a sentinel spawn on this flower here, just because I can recognize where it is. After that, you're going to want to lower Savathun's health as much as you're comfortable doing. I think I could probably get one more tick down. That's probably good enough. You want to be able to kill Savathun on demand later. Next up, go into the mirror dimension and complete that section as you normally would. Well, it is important to not have any spawn points set down here. We can have the game delete them all for us. After you trigger the memory, go ahead and jump off. The game will Autorez you, but then you just jump off again. Technically, the first jumping off isn't important, but it just lets you know when the second one needs to happen. Eventually, the joining allies will trigger, and when that happens, it will delete any spawn point you set in the mirror dimension.
Then let's play.
So, just going to jump off again.
Guardian down.
And I should get the spawn point that I set before. At least if I wait for Savathun to spawn. I'm going to want to drive this Savathun away. And that will be all of the prep you need for escaping this encounter. Since I have 2 allies here, they're going to help me out by killing Savathun while I make sure that I'm in the air when the portal triggers. This is a very long Autorez, but it works in very odd ways. Just go ahead and jump off, and you should spawn here. Let's see that again from the firing position. As soon as the screen goes white, make sure you kill Savathun, and then jump off. In this case, we managed to get everyone out, which is fine. Anyone who dies in the zone will respawn in the mirror dimension. In fact, if you do the solo setup, that's how you'll get someone back to trigger the Autorez. Anyways, you're going to want to jump down this tube, and then move forwards a bit to hit the load. I died to the load here, but that doesn't matter because we hit Court of Thorn, so we are no longer going to be pulled into the mirror dimension. To get back down, I'm going to drop down a bit, sort of fly forwards a little bit, and drop to avoid some kill barriers. I haven't yet run into those myself, but I have been assured that they do exist. After that, make your way to Miasma. You don't seem to have any public matchmaking, but for some reason, public events still kind of happen. You just don't get any warning about them until they're pretty much upon you. Much like I didn't have enough warning to dodge that shot, I guess. Anywho, since I have been messing around in this area, I actually know my way around for the moment, so let's head on down to Witch's Echo. This is definitely my most common area to get out of map in Throne World, because it just links to so many places. And it still exists. Hopefully they're done trying to patch getting out of map here, but you never know. Anyways, going to drop down here and then go forwards and up. We're going to the Dark Harvest area because we're going to be using a very small object to set our ghosts on a thing that'll exist out of box in Witch's Echo. Just gotta head off to the right a little bit. Yeah, if you can see the pyramid architecture, you know you're going in the right direction. The Dark Harvest area is pretty fun to check out and patrol also, so if you've not done that yet, I would recommend checking it out. You want to make your way up top over to the leftish side, and at some point you'll hit the Loadzone. If you're jumping when you hit it, you're less likely to die, which is roughly what we want, although if you do die to the load, you can always just go through the doors that do in fact open for you, and then grapple upwards to escape. Load should be coming up right about now. Right, maybe now. Oh, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and swap to Navigator since we will be using some of that. I like to drop down into the funnel over here. There are many places you can drop for it. This one just happens to be pretty convenient. If you're looking back towards the map, you do have to be a bit to the right here to manage to drop into the funnel. And away we go. Should be a layer of fog. And then you should be able to see the structure below. Luckily, when you land on it, you don't have the fog. See the pyramid there? If this fog did not go away, this would be nearly impossible because we have a very precise lineup to do. I'm going to go ahead and make my way back to this door that's sticking out of the side. There we go. Ghost lighting will be helping a lot. And might as well take advantage of our death there to gain back a bit of ammo. So you're going to want to walk with your ghost out until you spot these two little circle-y textures. And then you're going to want to count 7 big tiles from that. And you'll see a kind of square pattern on the right. You're going to want to stand in it a little bit to the right of the line in order to set your ghost in the right position. And long story short, that position was incorrect, as you can see by my ghost being back at the default. So let's go get the right positioning. This is definitely the most precise IRB I've done, although at least I am on the ground while setting it. You're looking for these 2 circles, then count 7 tiles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got that square there. Go ahead and set something for ricochet rounds and light. And I was too far over before, so about that line is where you want to be. And with any luck, that will work. So of course, now we've got to get back up. Technically, if we blocked our spawn points or had someone else block the spawn points we did set, we could spawn back up top, but that is probably not going to happen with how precise you have to be. Anyways, now that we've made it back to where the funnel is, we're going to grapple fly back up. I'm switching to strafe because that makes it go considerably faster since you don't have the height limit. Going to want to turn on your jump as you reach your grapple point and your fastest speed. And you can tell by the whooshy lines on the side of the screen when your speed has died down. I'm also rotating a little bit after each grapple because even if you're looking as high up as you can, you aren't actually looking straight up. Anyways, after a while, you should make your way out of the funnel, and if you've set strafe lift like I have, you're going to want to resist any urge to sword fly, because that would spell disaster until you fix your jump situation. I've kept this at normal speed just to re-emphasize, do not attempt to sword fly with strafe on. I may have lost a run to doing that earlier, and if that happens, you're going to have to go all the way back down and do that lineup again. Anyways, now that I am back on the ground, I'm going to swap my jump back over, which is not on Navigator. I'm going to make my way up a little bit. Probably don't actually have to, but I've got Navigator and I'm using it. You can see to the left over there, the copy of the dev playground that my previous Savathun video was about. But that's not where we're going today. So to hit this death to load, I like to jump up on these things on the left, and then jump into the wall looking at about a 45, and I fell a bit too soon there, so gonna have to do that again. But luckily this is highly retryable. It turns out that the pyramid doors within Harvest do in fact open, even though the one back in Witch's Echo does not. And with those doors out of the way, you're going to want to go up and above the rocks here. Probably should have fired my grapple further out that way. And you cross over the hills on this side, and I think I am a little mispositioned here. Ah, there we go. But anyways, if you had to reset your IRB point, you would fly out in that direction, but I'm just going for the death to load, so I'm going to go back to the right. And luckily this sword flying doesn't need to be pristine, or I would be in a bit of trouble here. Let's give this one another shot. I'm going to jump up on the kind of jar things. Forwards and to the left. And once again, I did not jump out far enough. Generally, I don't have a hard time hitting this death to load, but I guess now that it's recording time, I'm just hitting all the issues. But you can be assured that it isn't actually a very hard one to hit. I'm just having a bad time with it at the moment. Alright, hopefully this time I will get it right. So, back on the jars, getting some speed and jumping into the corner, and there we go. As you can see, that target is very small. So let's say you've done this part solo. How do you get someone to trigger the Autorez for you? When they join, they'll find themselves stuck in this area, which is blocked by a door. But luckily, the fallback point will get you back into the outer section of Witch's Echo. So you can do the classic 2-3 pattern like that. Die, and if you respawn before those crystals go away, you should be home free. After that, you just need to make your way back into Sanctum of the Brood Queen. And any death in that zone will spawn you back up here. I'll leave that as an exercise for the viewer. Although I do have various videos on how to do it. One more thing. It is vitally important that anyone in that zone leaves the moment the dialogue starts, or they risk triggering joining allies.
Her fear. Her pride.
As always, change characters to leave. Don't hold O to go to orbit.
Tell me who I am.
And we've made it onto this incredibly tiny platform. See, down there is our destination. But before we go there, we can check out these rings. I remember seeing them in the sky from out of map, and I really wanted to know what they were about. I thought they were from the raid, but they're actually from that strike. Go ahead and see if they are solid. And it seems they are not. I'm not sure if any of the other little things around here are solid. I had tried setting an IRB on this little guy, although that did not turn out too well, and kind of think they aren't solid. Anyways, let's head over there. Falling a little bit, so I'm gonna use grapple to reset my jump. There is a funnel, so you're going to want to leave yourself plenty of height to enter from, so you don't end up getting dragged downwards to your untimely demise, although you will be able to respawn back on that little light. Looks like we're all lined up here. And there we go. I just have to hit the next Loadzone before my allies can rejoin. And then we'll all be in Altar of Reflection. It is pretty silly that we started off in one mirror dimension and we've made it to another. But we aren't quite done yet. We can get all the way to the end of this area. And I don't even need to swap off of Titan. In my previous episode on this mirror dimension, I had to swap to Hunter, but we didn't have access to grapple then, or at least I don't think we did. And ItAvvy showed me that with a well-placed grapple point, you can just zoom over that side over there. I'm not the best at that sort of grapple barrier push, but you do need to have a little bit of distance to get it going. See, ItAvvy just effortlessly went over it. And I went over with a little bit more effort, and I'm sure Burgundy will get there eventually. Previously, I was using an entire super to get over that, so definitely an improvement. And that gets us past door number 1. This next one is closed too, but it is much easier to get past. You can actually get over it with a well-timed jump. Just going to climb all the way up to those spikes. And oh, that was the that was the wrong thing to swap to. I'll just go for the grapple. Don't drop off to the left, you want to go to the right here. I fear BergundyPetal may have made a grave error, but you can get back out of that with some grapple shenanigans. I'm gonna keep going forwards. So, if you're down to half ammo or below and no ammo on your other guns, you'll get pity ammo pretty quickly. I had a bit more luck to the right side here, although pretty sure you can do it on either end. But at some point you're going to find yourself racing a turn back. And drop below to kind of get around this. And towards the left, you'll get out of the turn back. I cut it a little bit close there, but you can definitely do it with a lot more time to spare than that. And we're past door number 3. The final door. If you happen to not have done your parasite catalyst stuff, you might find a few of the green rifts around here. And now just gonna wait for ItAvvy and BergundyPetal to make it. It seems Petal has taken the lead. It is nice getting the entire fire team out. Also nice to be able to do it via an IRB instead of having to make a Quantum Sparrow to do it. But yeah, hopefully you'll give it a try. and refine those precision IRB setting skills. Anyways, happy exploring.